All right. I think we're live. Yes, we are
We are
live.
live. Excellent.
Howdy, everybody. I think we got 0 viewers tonight. Hi, everybody.
It's- it shows
Oh, it's
there's
just
two
today.
waiting. That could be you and me, but maybe not.
Um, I got shows 0, so I haven't even entered the live stream yet myself.
Oh, okay. I bet you there is somebody watching then. We might see a comment pop in. Who knows? Fairly soon.
Let me see. See if the comments are working. Well, where are the comments? There we go. So, how's everything going?
It is that sort of. If it feels like to me like that post-turkey dinner, even though I don't eat turkey anymore, that post-turkey dinner feeling after a big holiday, or you had a big meal and you're sitting in the chair. Oh, it looks like we got 2 people.
Yeah, we just had 2 pop in. We got
Yep.
Matthew Kelly
Looks like.
and Stryker. Mel came in.
Yeah. Hey, Mel. Hey, Matthew. Thanks for joining. Like I was saying, if I feel after New Year's, it feels like that post-holiday season week where you're kind of getting back to work and you're like dragging along because of all the holiday eating and all of the stuff going on, and everything. That's what it feels like to me. So I'm kind of just mellow right now.
Yeah, I shared with my family over here in the local was that it's like, come on, you have to come out. You got to go to school. It's like, I don't want to. But honey, you're the teacher. That's kind of like my wife. She's like, I don't want to go back to work. Because she had an extra 3 days off because we had the blizzard go on just before Christmas break, and she was like, "Oh, I like all this extra time off. I don't want to go back to work."
Yes,
and I'm like, that. I want you to go back to work. Go now.
I've made you breakfast.
The house.
You're all ready
to
go.
House back to myself.
I put coffee on. So
yeah, I say, imagine it's wow. What time is it there in Australia right now? I have to say, it's Matthew Kelly's from down under.
Oh, okay.
I know Mel is just like 30 minutes that direction, but there's not much of a time zone. Even though he's 30 minutes ahead of me.
When the folks are usually on in Australia, isn't it really early in the morning, like 5 in the morning or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Or maybe I'm wrong.
That might be. Or it could be afternoon. I don't know.
Oh, it says I'm Friday. Looking through the YouTube thing. 2 p.m. It says.
2 p.m. Friday.
Okay, so it's not early in the morning. It's ahead.
No, we haven't even made it to Friday yet. Another 3 hours. You guys were having happy hour by the time we make it to Friday.
Yes, exactly. So how about you? What have you been up to, Rusty?
Well, let's see. What did we do in the last week? Mel and I had a game of Battle Valor together.
Mm-hmm.
And we're getting disenfranchised with the game. We like it, but we don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting to the point where we're thinking about throwing the book at the wall, and it's one of those things where the fluff is kind of cool. It's got some nice armies and everything in it, but the rules themselves are just driving us up the wall, driving us crazy. So,
how about are you going to be trying a different rule set, or?
Well, what was it? We just ordered. Both of us ordered Oathmark.
Okay.
So we ordered that, and I think we're both going to get the book. Mine said it would be here the 25th, even though I ordered it off Amazon. It's like whatever. Usually something off Amazon is like next day or so.
But I've heard good things about that. A lot of people really liked it. It seemed to come on strong. That was like 2 years ago they come out.
I think so.
Yeah, about it's pretty recent as far as games go.
Yeah, they seem to be putting out some stuff that's worth at least trying. Give it a shot.
Now you have the Dragon Rampant too, don't you?
Yeah, I do. It's like over there.
Yeah, that's a good one too. And it really just depends on it's a different way of playing like mass battles with smaller amounts of miniatures, and I really liked it. I like playing it. That's why I look forward to the Xenos Rampant. It's nice in its flexibility, and then also, but it also has that. It's one of those games that has like the beauty within the simplicity. If you don't like that kind of exquisite simplicity that just works out really well, like sometimes you like a bit more crunchy rule set, then it wouldn't be for you. But if you like some of those ones that have that simplicity that makes it cool,
Yeah.
and you can also be really creative, in the way you can use your own miniatures and kit out your own lists and stuff. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's what I kind of like, the idea of being able to use your stuff to create armies if you want to.
Yeah.
However you feel like making your armies,
Yeah.
tailor it to your specs that you like.
And that's what it's built up.
That was one thing that you could do. We were kind of just started talking before, you got your sidetrack there, but like Armies of Arcana, you can build your army. You can actually sit down with your friends and actually make units if you want to, and design your own game out of it. So there's that. So we're looking forward to at least trying out the Oathmark and see how that works out. Short of taking the Battle Valor system and just going through the whole book and rewriting it to actually make sense and find all the loopholes and everything and snip them and say, oh, they're gone.
And now you've been painting a little bit?
Yeah, I've been doing a little bit of painting. Actually, last night was the first time I actually sat down and started doing stuff. I got started working on a little bit of Battletech stuff here.
Nice.
I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 16 mechs sitting here. And I got 7, 8, 9 of them I have to completely finish yet. And nice. I have some of them are just a little bit of touch up and I'll be done with them.
Cool. We got 3 people joining the room. Looks like we've got Brad, we've got Tim over at Broken Dice, and we've got Bill on the line. Thanks everybody for joining in.
Hey, Bill.
This sort of what we were saying earlier, this sort of slow week after the holidays, maybe busy for those of you that are getting caught up.
Yeah, for us, it wasn't too busy. For me, it's like we did spend a lot of time because my daughter had like a week off. Obviously, my wife was off for almost 2 weeks. So we spent a lot of time playing Civilization 6 on the computer with each other.
Oh, nice. Yeah, you were telling me that you do that.
Yeah, so the 3 of us, it's like she's at her place up there and my wife's upstairs and I'm down here and we're all just playing, just going to town with each other.
I don't know the best way I can show this. This might be, I'm not sure, because I don't have my but I basically have been painting. This was before the holidays, but I don't think I actually showed it on the last Musty Wargamers.
That's
but
Wasp and Ant-Man.
Yeah, I don't have the wings on Wasp yet, but I've been working on these 2, and don't know why I'm showing them like that, but basically, yeah, they're coming out pretty good so far. It's kind of hard to see at this distance. I still have to do the black lining, as comic book kind of style characters, and I have their little mini versions as well. And so, yeah, I was kind of working on, I took a day, not last weekend, but the weekend before, and I kind of was just working on both of these and the other 2. But I haven't been doing that much painting over the holidays in general. Kind of had a little bit of a break over the holidays. And so I'm hoping to, I've been doing more gaming. I've actually had opportunity to play lots of Warhammer Fantasy Battle, and I've been enjoying that. And then I'm going to be playing my first game of Xenos Rampant, most likely on Saturday morning. And then probably a Warhammer Fantasy Battle game next week. So that's kind of odd for me. Usually I do more painting and I don't get many games in. I've been doing a lot more gaming and haven't been doing as much time at the table. So I'm hoping to get some more time in the next little bit here.
Yeah, we've been doing a little bit of stuff. Let's see, what day did we didn't do anything? Obviously, Christmas Day because we've been playing on Sundays, but we did one game on was it day before Friday or Saturday before Christmas? I think we played something, and then obviously we played one this last Sunday, and I put that out already. So that was our last battle. That was our biggest battle we had in a while. We had 1,400 points per side. So there was 4 of us. Each of us took 700 points each, and which is not bad. It's enough to have a sub commander, but it's come to the conclusion that catapults are OP in the game. We need to. They're too cheap for what they can do. So that's all.
Yeah.
We need if we're going to play again, we need to think about limiting them to 2.
So what is your musty drink tonight?
Well, I am going across the pond tonight with Bushmills.
There you go. Nice.
Right. From the year 1608 of our Lord. And a nice Irish whiskey.
I'm having a very simple night, just having a Moosehead.
Moosehead.
That's it.
If I known you were doing Moosehead, I would have got some Moosehead out.
There you go.
Smells good. I haven't had this in a while. I think the last spring was the last time I opened up that bottle.
I think I've seen you bring that out once before, no?
Yeah,
the first time.
That's the second or time I brought it out. Maybe the third time. I can't remember.
I don't know. So our topic tonight, we were going to start with talking about, we were going to talk about a little 3D printing. Now I think we're going to maybe do some painting tonight, but did you want to go through the comments and stuff first? I think we got a fair bit of
comments. I'm going to
comments.
crank through these. We got Mel, you are here. Yes, we are. Afternoon. Matt is down under. Hello. It's like we said, it's 2 p.m. there, Friday. Mel's like 50 difference depending on time zones. Yep. And I think the books are coming from the UK. I'm not sure, but the amount of time it's taking, I suggest the UK. That might be the case, is that we ordered them, because usually if I order like off Amazon, I get it in 2-3 days at the most. And when they're taking 3 weeks, that's telling me it's coming probably across the pond.
Yep.
And Brad said hello. Tim said hello. Bill said hello. Finally got my Intersphere heavy battle lances. Oh yeah, that's because you were saying that it's going to take you a while, like forever and a day to get them in, and they finally showed up. Cheers and cataphract. Okay. Where I find the rules for large re-engineered lasers for this Enforcer variant I'm looking at. If you look in Sarna, and they may describe, say what the laser is, and it might have listing where it's found in the different books. That's typically the quickest way to find that information on the Sarna website. So look up your mech, look up the weapon system. They may list it. If it's in blue, click on it, and it may tell you, or it might be down below in the notes. I agree the Battle Valor needs a tweak. The catapult by watching the video. Yeah, it's like they are a little OP. Do interstellar operations? Don't own that. Oh, yeah, that would be hard. Does it give a page number for interstellar operations? If it does, you may have somebody on here tonight that might have it. It's like Mel might have it. I don't know. Mel, you have interstellar operations. If you do, you can help out Matt here. Like my catapults with 2 PPCs instead of missile racks. Yeah, that's an interesting variant. We had a way back in the day. We had an XL engine version of a catapult that had 2 PPCs and 2 LRM-10s, which made for an interesting build. Totally 100% fire support mag. And 2 plasma rifles or Arrow 4 of the, yeah. Well, if you can have the artillery for later on when the Arrow 4 comes in handy, oh yeah, that's nasty. Or plasma rifles when those come handy, and depending on the era. And now if you're playing Succession Wars, you're stuck with PPCs and LRMs, just the way it is. UK has a postal strike at the moment. Oh, that could be a problem. Unless it's being totally handled by Amazon within the house. I don't know. I'll look, but I doubt it. Okay. I know I have interstellar operations on the shelf, but I'd have to get up and dig it out. And oh yeah, I used Sarna after I couldn't find it in advanced units and equipment. So the large laser that ignores damage reduction, 9 heat and damage, -1 to hit. Oh, okay. Yeah, it sounds like what year did that come? Let me know what year that weapon system came out. That sounds like a 3085 or later weapon system. I don't have much experience that far out. And that's all the comments.
All right. So did you want to start the discussion off on the 3D printing? I know you were kind of doing some exploring with that.
On Monday, I was over at one of the guys that's part of our group, Garrett. He has a 3D printer. He has a Mars 2. You got a Mars 2, don't you?
Yeah, Mars 2P. Probably the same thing. There's a Mars 2 and there's also a Mars 2P, but it did have a little P next to it. It's just little. There's so many different variations, right?
Yeah. There's. I think his is a 4K. I think yours is the 4K resolution. Or is yours a 2?
I think it's a 2, to be honest. I don't think mine was a 4. I think it's a 2. Maybe I'm wrong. I could tell you in a second, just as we're talking about the discussions here. So
yeah, it was over at his house, and I ordered up and purchased was it Lost Kingdoms? I ordered up a few of their STL files.
Mine's 2K resolution.
Okay.
Yep.
Not that 2K and 4K make much of a difference, but it's the fine detail, I think, is what matters there. So I was over, I ordered up some Lost Kingdom Dark Dwarves. So I have some of the STL files. And
cool.
So I have those. And my plan is I want to expand upon my Chaos Dwarves for my fantasy. So when we get back into playing Warhammer Fantasy again, I want to have my Chaos Dwarf army again, because I used to have one until obviously it disappeared on me. So I want to rebuild that. I have some Forge World stuff already, but if I can start printing stuff, I'd be happy. When you consider to order Forge World Chaos Dwarf unit of 10 is like almost $100, you're like, yeah.
Did you roll like double ones in the magic phase? Is that what happened with that army?
What happened, I think, was
a miscast.
I played a game with them at the shop, and I thought I put them in my travel case, which is a tackle box. and I think somebody snagged them out of the tackle box.
Man.
Because where they used to be in there was an open slot. And like,
Mm-hmm.
and there were the old '90s Chaos Dwarves. You know, I had a whole thing of them, just all my ranked up, all my my rank and file units. I was a little torqued about that.
Mm-hmm.
So the plan is to rebuild. We can rebuild it.
Mm-hmm.
So I went over there and had some files. We looked at some stuff, and then he showed me how you've done all this before, but it's new to me of actually setting up the files with the printer,
Mm-hmm.
set them on the plate, you know, put the scaffolding, whatever you call that, in there, and then
Oh, the
slice
supports
it.
and stuff.
Yeah, the supports. And I had one piece. We worked on practice on a Mechanicum juggernaut was what they called it. So it's a big giant. It'd be about yay tall when it's all finished and printed out. And it was like it had a pretty large body to it, you know. And then we were discussing it. It's like, well, then we turned around and honeycombed it out, made it hollow with a honeycomb system, and make portholes so that everything with resin would drain out and stuff. So it taught me all how to do all that kind of stuff. So now I got a good idea how to do all this stuff, and then we put it on the printer. And I sent you a picture of it.
Yes.
So that was it.
Yeah. Yeah. Sweet. Yeah, and that was just looking here, and that was just this weekend, right? Or this.
Yeah, I just sent that tonight because I forgot to send it to you.
Oh, okay. Maybe I misunderstood. I thought you sent something else. Now I see it. Like when this was all on the plate, like you've got the picture,
that's still on the
final
plate.
product, but all of that stuff. Yeah, cool. So what did you think of it all?
I liked it. It was like a great mystery until you actually sit down and figure it all out. You have no reference to it until you actually see it in action. And I was like totally baffled. You know, we've had the discussions on before, like Dan was on discussing it. Like he was curious about asking questions. I'm asking questions. And to actually see it in action, you're like, you don't have a reference to what's going on.
Yeah. I find the resin one, as much as I like it better, it's not as impressive to look at. I mean, it literally is just pulling the model out of the liquid. So for the longest time, you don't even see it, you know, and then it just you don't really get a good sense of it even till like towards the end, I don't think. But it's a simpler process, I find, like than the other one but with that one you get to see the thing moving around and it's building with no liquid over it. It's building it right in front of you, right? So it's actually more impressive to kind of watch the filament style printer. The overall, I mean, I could see myself getting someday a larger printer for the resin, just because I really like the process and I like the product. Overall, right now, like my daughter just made me a design for a water mill for the French Indian War, and it is, you know, it's going to be probably a large piece. Like it's probably going to be, you know, a fairly large piece. The water mill itself alone, like the wheel is like that.
Yeah.
Even if we split it down for the larger rooms, I don't think it'll fit in the resin printer that I have, and it might not even with some of the biggest ones. I'm not sure, but so I'm going to have to go with instead of these guys that I have right here, the resin ones that I primarily use now, I'm going to be using this guy here to do most likely to do the building, just because I think that'll be the only way I can do it. And we are going to split it up, so there'll be a fair bit that can be split up. But you know, I'm kind of glad I have both right now. I could see having a larger one in the future of the resin. The one thing I will say is, unless you plan on printing a lot with the resin, which in the beginning phase you may very well, like if you first get one, you'll print like, you know, test designs, just things that you don't even plan on using for the wargaming, but you'll end up just printing things that you want to use for armies, things that you just like the look of, and you'll go through some resin, and you won't really matter to you how much you have sitting in the bath over time. But if you ever if the luster wears off, if you end up having a lot on the shelf that's unpainted and you take a bit of a break, if you leave that resin in the bath, I'm not saying this as an expert, but I've noticed that like you get separation. You get like stuff that seems to settle. It's like a bit thinner at the top. I've had to go in with a spatula and sort of, without trying to spill this liquid resin, because you don't want to do that, I'd have to mix it up slowly by moving a spatula back and forth. And so I don't really like keeping the resin in there for very long. And where I'm going with this is the bigger the vat and bigger machine you have, the more resin you're going to have in that vat just sitting there, And so having a bigger machine is going to be amazing to be able to print bigger things in resin, like for sure. But it also is going to mean that you have like more product just sort of sitting in there in your machine when you're not using it. You can, I suppose, drain the vat. Some people, you will do it through a filter into a bottle. You can do that as an option, maybe, like if you just know that you're going to be taking a couple months off. But
break out the turkey baster and
you could do that, I suppose. You don't want that bulb. You don't want that bulb to come off the top. Because the thing is, I don't know if you've watched much as far as videos in this, but you don't want to get this stuff on your skin.
Yeah.
Because the worry is that can go into your pores, and it's UV activated, and it's probably not good systemically, like in the body. So like that's why people are so careful with everything.
What's wrong with my hands? They won't bend anymore.
Have plastic inside your skin as it turns solid from the natural UV rays outside in the sun.
Yeah, he was telling me that he would keep cleaning off his, he had the big giant vat of had that cleaner, the agitated cleaner that from Elegoo that would go around, and he said, every once in a while I'll have that big giant vat of alcohol. I'll just put it outside in the sun, and it will solidify in itself, clean itself, and just everything would sink down to the bottom. Mm-hmm. It just turns to solid particulates.
Yep. What I've done,
like coffee strainer, and pull it out, and you cleaned it up.
Yep. You can do that. I bought a bunch of alcohol, and then I kind of ended up just filtering the stuff I had already, and it worked just fine. So you take a while before you have to really change it, for sure.
Yeah.
So
it's not pretty expensive.
So where are you at now with it? What are you thinking?
Well, I was almost pulled the trigger. They had the Saturn II I was looking at, and it was $329, and I was about ready. It was like that morning, it was $329. I was like, oh, but then I went over to his house, looked at everything. It's like, oh yeah, now I'm set. I think I'm gonna just go buy it. And when I got home, it was $389. So it went up that much, and sometime during the day, I was like, man.
Like you talk around Facebook or Amazon, I'm convinced they hear you.
like, oh, you want to buy that? Okay, just wait. You waited just a minute too long. Here you go.
Well, I can't tell you how many times it's just insane that I'm literally just talking about something, and then all of a sudden it shows up as an ad in like a website that I'm looking at, like in their ads that are the personalized ads, and personal to what you're either scrolling through or talking about. It's hilarious.
We're not talking about you. Please ignore us. It's like the phone's listening to us.
Well, and I have the little pod here, like we were watching the episode with the Google Pod, right? And it turned on while we were playing. Well, that thing can hear its own name and turns on. You kind of wonder, like, how much does that thing hear?
It's spying on us. It's like, oh, you wanted that? Okay, it's already packaged and being sent to your home now. It's like, I was only thinking about it. I didn't say anything. Well, we heard you thinking, so it's coming. So that's the nasty thing about it. But so now I'm just waiting to see if the price of stuff will come down.
Mhm.
I knew it was, like $60 is the big difference. Eventually it'll probably come down some way or another.
Yeah, well, $60. That's I mean, what is that? 1/6 of what you were talking about? I don't know. It's something like that.
Yeah, it was so $329 up to $389. So it went up a bit. That's like 3 containers of resin. So
for sure, definitely.
Now I was thinking about getting not the Mars, but the Saturn. So the reason I wanted to just get a little bit bigger plate, because I'm thinking if I do this, I will be doing sculptures type things. Also, I'll be doing terrain and
like busts and stuff.
Yeah, that kind of stuff
to paint and.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really cool to do that. I still haven't painted this guy. It's one of the reasons why I don't. I've got my thing sitting there and I'm not really doing much with it right now because I have a lot to paint. But I really do want to. This guy actually probably looks good in the light here, but I'm not sure. Yeah, I really want to.
That's a resin one, right?
Yeah, this is resin. I really want to paint that up. It is fun, for sure. Like not even just doing the miniatures with painting, but like sculpture busts and stuff. It's cool.
There's this one channel I watch. I think I sent you the links a few times.
Mm-hmm.
Where the guy does those Marvel and DC busts or full 1/6 scale models. I'm like, now I can see myself doing that. It's like you spend all day printing an arm and a leg, and it's like bits, and you put it together and green stuff it together, and put it all, and then you go paint it up, and then it's like, well, obviously you see, and there's Supergirl right there.
Yeah, and
there's stuff all around the house. Well, it's not beyond the reason that I would do this, like Daredevil, Spider-Man, Wolverine, or my 3. I could probably get into some other ones too. So.
Yeah, there's a ton of them out there, that to do it for Marvel and superheroes and stuff. For sure.
There's that one company that puts them out. Wicked, I think, is the name of it.
Mm-hmm.
And they have some really wild looking sculpts that you can shrink them down or make them as big as you want. And what the heck is it? It's cubic or something. Anycubic, I think is.
Yeah.
He uses these anycubic ones that are like 10 or maybe 12-inch plates on these things. That's how you can.
Well, the Anycubic, when it comes to the resin ones, it's pretty comparable to Elegoo and what they offer. Like they both offer very similar sizes. The last I checked, so like I'm guessing that the Jupiter Elegoo is probably similar to the largest one that Anycubic has.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at the Jupiter now.
Haven't looked at the Jupiter. I've seen it advertised, but I haven't actually looked at it.
Well, when I go to look it up, it says not found. It looks actually quite a bit different than the one I have. But the build plate is 277 millimeters by 156 by 300 millimeters. The Saturn is 192 by 120 by 200. So it's significantly bigger.
Yeah, it's well,
actually,
that's about a 12-inch plate on one direction. 300 millimeters, about 12 inches.
Yeah, that's pretty significant. They have pictures of them next to each other, and like the Elegoo Jupiter just dwarfs both the Saturn and the Mars in size. I haven't seen where you can even. I haven't seen where you can even find them. Like when I looked it up on Amazon, they didn't even have a Jupiter around. But
I don't
as
think
far
they've
as
come out yet. So,
well, they were supposed to come out in 2021, according to this, or maybe that's when they were designed. I'm not sure who has them for sale at the moment. A lot of this stuff is from September and early of 21 and early 2022.
yeah, I just
Currently unavailable.
seen a picture of it. It's like a big box with an open front on it.
Yeah.
That's what I've seen.
Yeah. They don't even show pricing. So, anyways, it looks huge, though. I mean, it's obviously coming, but when? Who knows? Do you want to go through the comments a bit before we do a little bit of painting, too?
Yeah.
While we chat more about this stuff?
All right. Let's see. Got 8 tons dark age era. Okay, that explains it. Way past the. Palmer looks bored with all these BattleTech questions.
Yeah, I was, as you guys were talking, or you were reading through, and everybody was talking BattleTech. I was starting to not doze off, but
Like
wander a bit.
He's flatlining.
Yeah.
I printed and painted a ton of cowboy miniatures by STLs by 3D Breed. Never heard of 3D Breed.
Well, that's cool.
Is that for the table setup you just had a picture of that you shared? Was it today? Some people are awful. Stealing Chaos Dwarfs, very cruel. Yes, it is. It's like having a big army that each one of those guys is probably worth $10-$12 at least a piece. And it was a fully painted army too. Okay, Brad has Interstellar Operations book. I look, but I don't have. Okay.
I can definitely say I don't have it.
Yes. I printed and painted a handful of space lizard men with guns from one-page rules 2 months ago. They reminded me of Gorn.
Oh, that's cool.
You gotta have that $60. Ooh. Yeah. Oh, it has to get me room for our resin printer. I am getting frustrated. It isn't running yet. That's his brother.
Oh, okay.
Oh. The spider. Yeah, he has space that they could put it in, but they haven't done anything with it. Which one does he have? Does he have an Elegoo, or has he got something else for the resin printer? My better half needs attention. Gotta go. See you later. Okay. Beep, beep, beep.
I was trying to find out here, just for the purpose of the show, when the Mars Jupiter is supposed to be available. That's funny. I have to put 3D printing because they're starting to talk about like astronomy.
Oh, he's got a Mars 2 Pro. Holy crap. That's a good one.
This is weird. Well, in November 11th of 2021, it says it is available for pre-order, and according to Elegoo, will be shipped out in May 2022. The question is whether that was like a limited run or like a pre-run or something, because you would have thought that.
Yeah. Have you looking on their Elegoo store?
I'm not. I haven't been looking there yet. When I click on there, it just says not available, I don't think. Let me just see. Elegoo. Oh, no. It's showing there. So this, I'm guessing this is US dollars, but it's $1,300.
Yeah.
But when you think about it, it's kind of amazing. I mean, like, its size. That
Yeah, it's well when you consider it a Mars 2 Pro is what $600,
it's a 6K resolution.
just 6K.
Yep. 12.8-inch 6K monochrome LCD.
The Mars 2 Pro is 8K, so
Mm-hmm.
it's interesting. But it would be about twice the size of plate.
You mean the Saturn?
Oh yeah, the Saturn. Yeah,
Because mine's 2K.
yeah. The Saturn 2, the Saturn 2 is an 8K,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that would be the Jupiter would be about twice the size of plate versus the Saturn.
I'm guessing you could probably put a whole bottle of resin in that vat.
Oh yeah, I imagine it could almost probably hold two. Probably a large vat.
Some of the prints they're showing pictures of are incredibly detailed, though. It's got a resin feeding inlet, so you can actually pour resin into somewhere else, and it goes into the vat while you're printing. That's pretty cool.
So it's not pretty much not in the open then? Is that what that is?
It just has a channel that you can pour that will allow you to pour resin over the top into the tray without actually having to pour it into the tray and get it in the way of the thing going up and down the plate.
Okay.
Just a feature. I don't know how necessary it is, but I guess if you're printing really big things and going through a lot of resin, maybe.
Imagine it has the, because of the Saturn has the ventilation system in it too. That
This does too.
Which I don't think the Mars has.
There is one in there, but you have to go through the bottom or something to get it. It's I think. But
yeah, because on the Saturn they got this big giant cube thing that just plugged in.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's pretty cool looking. Some of the prints they have on there are huge, big sculptures you could do just in one go.
Yeah, it's like that channel I shared. It's like he has some of those things are massive. That, you know, he's got some dioramas that would, you know, barely fit on this desk I have. That's how big they are. Like,
yeah,
it's like 20, 30,000 grams of resin went into them. Like, wow. It's a lot of money.
Yeah, when Brad said that $60 is resin, I mean, that's Canadian dollars, because you can get it between, at least last time I checked, between 40 and 60 Canadian. But there, depending on the bottle size, because I also get the 1,000 gram, you can get 500 grams for $20 US, I'm sure, with what you were talking about. The 500 grams, the half-size bottle.
Seen it on Amazon for about $21. You can get 1,000 grams.
Oh, 1,000?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, you'd have to, and also different brands are different amounts too.
Some are cheaper, some more expensive. Plus, it also depending on what type of resin it is. If like a clear, fluorescent or whatever you want to call it, you know, different types, more expensive. I've seen some that was like 500 grams was like $100. So like, wow. But it glows in the dark.
So I am, as we're chatting up stuff and going through comments and things, I am now pulling my sleeves back because I'm going to paint some bases while we talk. This is the funny thing, isn't it? I just wondering. Normally I don't do this. Go.
First one, then the other. Order of operation.
That's right. I feel like I'm on a, like part of the rebels in Star Wars, like with this or something. I don't know. Or is it the rebels or the guys in the ships that have the ball guys with the? You know,
oh, yeah, they're like cybernetic implant.
That's what I feel like.
So what are you working on?
Well, I was going to start with something simple. And I was just going to actually just paint the bases, start painting the bases on these guys, just to get it done while we're talking. Pretty easy thing to be able to maintain any level of conversation while I'm painting a base. How about you?
I am going to be working on these BattleTech miniatures.
BattleTech.
Yeah, I want to get them done so I can start working on these. Finish up this. What do they call it? Votan miniatures.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can start. I want to get to my American Civil War guys and get them finished. Because if I can get them done, then I can move on to a different project, which is the Chaos Dwarves.
Right.
It's like doing stuff.
One of my friends, since we're just chatting various things, I guess Warlord Games has a game out that's based on the 2000 AD and is it Judge Dredd universe?
Oh yeah.
And the name of the game, I guess it was a cartoon that was similar to Conan. 2000 AD. Is it called Slain? I think that's what it's called. Yes. One of my friends got the Slain set, and he's doing a good job painting it up. It comes with wattle fence, 2 different houses. So pretty cool looking sculpts.
Yeah.
It's actually not bad looking.
You're right, Mel. I need to finish my BattleTech miniatures so I can start more BattleTech. It's the way it is. I just had all the unpainted BattleTech miniatures out the other day. They were sitting on the table until Sunday morning. And I put them all away. There's like counting them out. There's probably close to 120 sitting in the wings, just waiting to be painted. So that's a few different ones. Chris, that's a good look from Palmer. Welcome into the group there, Chris.
This is my business look. I mean business when I'm doing when this is going on. You just missed the 3D printing conversation, Chris, but maybe he's getting a little tired about talking about that because it seems like every time he goes into a room with Wargamers, they want to talk with him about 3D printing. Maybe he doesn't get tired of it.
Well,
Rusty's just had a great sort of getting to see 3D printing for the first time up close and is thinking about it now.
Yeah, it is one of those things where when you're seeing it everywhere you go, it's kind of making you want to take the dive into it.
Yeah, and you've been one that's, bought 3D prints from other people.
Yeah.
So it's not as if you've been resisting the product, the final product.
Yeah, I think the product's good. It's for the price. So.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's a low impact style miniature, it works great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Mel, you got about 80 BattleTech miniatures to paint? Or are those the resin vehicles? Working on, Brad says he's working on BattleTech, and yeah, we've been talking about you. You probably felt your ears itching, and so that's why you came over. Yeah. Get these Wolf Dragoons finished up, and then I could start working on some House Merrick mechs.
I'm gonna have to show the design that my daughter did for the French Indian Warhouse once I've got that going.
Yeah, you shared it with me.
Oh, that's right. I showed the outer picture. That's right. She's made some changes and tweaked some things. Her level of historical accuracy is just sort of like I gave her like a picture to go off of like another wargaming one, and like we didn't put machinery inside the mill. It's just like an empty room inside. It's just the wheel on the outside. I didn't have her go crazy with all that stuff, but it's still pretty cool.
Yeah, sometimes it's like if you're not opening it up, there's no reason to add a lot of detail.
The internal workings. I seriously doubt even Strissa Precision's watermill has like machinery on the inside. It's probably more just assumed.
I need to get a hold of Dan.
Yeah.
Set up because we talked about playing something here in the next month or so. We always seem to get together in February or late January, February.
Have you heard anything more about the Warhammer show on Amazon? Has anything else been released?
Oh, with Henry Cavill or?
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen other than it's just that they were talking about it. That was it.
Mm-hmm.
Is he going to be a inquisitor? Will he be a witch hunter?
Well, depending on how close he shaves, you might find out that info. Depending on how much he might, entertain the shave of the day kind of video once in a while.
Yeah, I did make reference to that.
Yeah.
I did find out that I did have somebody that subscribes that is a big Warhammer person. So
well, that's cool, and it's probably not that surprising that there's some people that are war gamers into that.
So what kind of gamer are you? PC, console, tabletop?
Pretty soon, it's going to be like saying you're, what is it? Croquet. The lawn game. Yeah, the lawn game. That's going to be like your tabletop war gamer pretty soon.
Chris says, I'm planning to paint and paint more in 20. Is that painting and printing? Paint, print, paint, print. I'm being buried under prints.
It's a lot faster to print them than paint them.
Yeah, more resin plastic crack. Nine BattleTech forces at the moment. How big are the force? Are they company size? Are they battalion size? But no BattleTech gets painted straight away. Yeah, I would get mine painted, but I always seem to get something else gets in the way of me doing stuff. Try not to buy miniatures this year unless the file. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking myself is instead of buying miniatures, if I do get a printer, then I'll go the route of just having printed stuff that I want.
You know what's going to happen though is you're gonna print lots of stuff, and then something's going to come out, and you're going to be like, well, on once in a while, I'm still going to buy something, like or whatever,
Yeah.
and then instead of like maybe twice in this amount of time, you still, I don't know. I still buy stuff. I still buy miniatures, even though I have a printer. You do want to justify the investment, but one, I still like metal miniatures as a medium,
especially if they're one piece.
Yeah, exactly.
It's one thing I've been burned out on is trying to assemble metal stuff.
I'm still kind of enthralled over being able to print really good detailed stuff with a 3D printer. And so I do think for a while there, it is a bit amazing just to print and get something that's really nicely detailed.
Or if Mel gets his 3D printer going, I just buy him resin.
Mm-hmm.
I could go that route, right, Mel?
Sounds like you're giving Mel a new job.
Well, he has made a lot of miniatures in his day.
Yep.
How many years, Mel, did you work at Alliance? Tim said, I'm afraid if I start 3D printing, my pile of shame will get way out of hand. A new addiction I don't need. Yeah.
When I was saying that I still buy stuff, I mean, like, part of it is I play the Marvel game, and to get the rules for each character, you still have to buy the miniature with it. And so it's sort of like, although you can print, miniatures, and you could probably find the cards online and go that route, you can find alternative miniatures for these games. I still like to support the game. And so, I don't know. I still buy stuff. Similar to Test of Honor, is like there's the cards in there, there's the rules, so the samurai miniatures. Then I'm into the old Warhammer stuff, and it's not even a matter of buying new plastics. I'm looking after ancient metals,
Yeah. Now, one thing I would probably really get into 3D printing if I could find files would be World War II naval ships.
I bet you that Chris has an answer for that. I don't know for sure, but I bet he does. I would like to print some ancients in 6mm and place them to the strongest.
Yeah, 6mm would be cool. Small enough scale that you don't have to, you can crank out a large army pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not worried about the detail.
Well, and the detail even on the 6 mil stuff that I'm printing now for Apocalypse is pretty good. You can actually get. I mean, it's good for what it is. I mean, like if you're not trying to print a 28 mil model in 6 millimeter, like that level of detail. If you're printing really according to what the standard was typically for 6 mil models, then 3D printer can do pretty well.
Yeah, that it can. Yeah, I painted a fair share of 6 mil stuff.
Yeah.
Like infantry.
Mm-hmm.
We had some at a project. It was a Napoleonic 6 mil stuff. Bacchus comes through one time, and it was detailed, but it wasn't like I needed to do the buttons and everything. Go crazy.
Right. Well, Bacchus has excellent stuff.
Yeah. Both Amazon and GW are too controlling and won't happen, or they'll make something that the fans hate. And that's a possibility. Then again, if he's part of the project, I would imagine he'll try to get canon correct, though. I'm actually not too far behind on painting my prints. Well, that's good. If you can crank them out. Six battalions of mechs. Wow, that's a lot of battalions. Let's see. That'd be 18 companies. That ain't that many, I guess. So 200 and something mechs. That ain't bad. I've looked at my projects that are halfway done and decided we'll try to get some finished projects I bought over the last 2 years with COVID hoarding. Yeah. That's part of it. Just getting in there and hunker down and get it done. I hear footprints. My son came home.
I painted these wings for the wasp. And I noticed today that just on the edge of one wing on both, there was no paint from the last time that I was painting them. Just weirdly enough, just almost like no paint at all, just on this one spot on each wing. And then I just remembered that's where I was holding them.
Oh.
Knowing full well that next time I was going to have to start there, But it's just kind of funny.
Now, does Wasp have gossamer ring style wings, or is it actual color?
As far as the paint, like the pattern, the color.
Yeah.
I think it really depends when you look at the comic over time. I've seen it where they just look white, with where the black indentation and the linings. I've seen them where they're just like iridescent looking. I've seen them where they're clear. I've seen like lots of different versions almost.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going with a really, really, really light baby bluish look, and then I'm going to put in like dark blue into it and potentially black into the indents and just sort of make it a bit more of a cartoon look. high contrast look.
Okay. I was
That's
just
what
wondering if they were type of like dragonfly style wings where, they were whatever how the sunlight reflected
Yeah,
off.
they have at times been that. I think just looking at it, reference work from the comics. Looks like Mel had to skip. See you later, Mel.
3 years at Alliance. Okay.
Unless he was saying "see you later" to the Alliance is what he meant, but I think he's talking to us.
I'll find out in a second here. I only print now what I'm about to paint. Stayed locked in my downloads. Do I have a guy for Naval World War II? Well, he has it in there. So
Nice.
I love naval games. My mini factor might have them. I want a World War II Navy also. Oh. There's something I used at one time. I had a GHQ. I had every ship named for the Japanese, Americans, and Brits in the Pacific Fleet. Six mil ships are going to be bigger than you think. Well, it would be 1/2400 scale, so they were small. That's what you got to go with. Keep them small as possible. 6 mil Roman army would be cool. I have seen some printed out some World War II ships. Yeah, most of the stuff they do is like 1/1800 scale or 1600 scale, 1200 scale. So it's freaking huge.
Typically in those mass battle naval games. Oh, sorry, it was Tim that left, not Mel. He said "see you later." He was talking to him. I didn't. He says, "Getting late here, guys. Got to get some sleep." That was my mistake. In those mass battle games for Navy, how well do they typically handle depth if you're dealing with like submarines and stuff like that, or whatever?
My experience has been with like Sea Craig and General Quarters.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a matter of running depth. If they're going deep or if they subsurface, surface.
Yeah.
And if they're running deep, then it's almost like, and it just becomes a die roll modifier, how well you're going to spot them or engage them, with depth charge, etc.
Mm-hmm. But it isn't at that level, right? Like those mass battle games isn't at the level. Like there's probably a lot of assumptions. Like if you're attacking with a certain style ship, a submarine, the assumptions is that they're doing the technical maneuvers that a destroyer would do, like or something like that against one of those. And so they simplify it a little bit, right?
Yeah, they do. Because it would be ridiculous trying to go, because it's you're talking an inch is 1,000 yards or something like that.
Yeah, I just noticed looking into the screen through here, my eyes are like huge. You know what I'm saying? Can you see that? Or no?
Yeah.
I don't know. Or even here, like at that level, it really distorts. I'm looking up like, ooh.
It's Captain Bug-Eye.
I'm like this. I'm like, so look at this, Rusty. So, Rusty, when I'm looking at a destroyer ship going after a submarine, how would that work?
Don't make me laugh. I'm trying to do small details. Oh my God.
I'm like the guy from Office Space with the staplers.
How do you see anything? Well, I don't see anything. That's why my glasses are so big. Well, you got drafted into the Army. I got some good news and I got some bad news. What's the bad news?
So, what are you working on next, Rusty? What are you doing next, Rusty? It's the simple things in life that make me laugh. Honestly.
Well, if you can't laugh in life, you can't laugh at anything.
It's true. Chris goes, was the first thing I noticed was the bug eyes. So everybody, how is everybody doing today?
Oh, Chris said I'm printing a ton of World War One. Are you be someplace? I got a set of rules for Dreadnought, which is the addition to the General Quarters rules for World War One.
I've heard of that. Yeah, I think that's what it was. We were either talking about World War One, or it was on somebody's video that I was watching that I saw you making a comment. It was something like that, but I think Dreadnought was mentioned.
Yeah, we were talking about it in I think one of our last shows last season.
Oh, okay.
You remember I went and hunted down some of my ships?
Oh, right.
Because I still have some GHQ stuff that never got sold because they were still in the packages.
Have you ever driven down a road? I'm on this like kick now of laughing at stupid things. Have you ever driven down a road and the sun behind you is so powerful and at such an angle that literally in front of you was a silhouette of the car with you inside the car and you could raise your hand and wave and like see yourself right in front of you on the road, like just from like, you know what I mean? Like that angle and that level of sun.
Yeah, it's usually in that spring and fall solstice is when you see that the best.
Yeah, I remember being in college and I was driving a friend to the university and we were coming up on a hill and I was like, look, and I'm like waving.
I can see myself.
Like I'm like Dumb and Dumber. Like I'm like so excited.
What were you smoking?
I was total coffee beans at that time of the morning. It was just driving on my way into university. Totally probably caffeine. Which I find caffeine to be euphoric. Like I find that after a couple of cups of coffee in the morning, which I'm not drinking coffee at the moment, but like even with tea, but if I have a lot of caffeine in the morning, like it can take me from barely wanting to do anything to being like completely optimistic about doing anything.
You're Captain Buzzed.
Well, caffeine does it for me. It's very, and with the way that there was a time when people would laugh at everyone for lining up for $5, lining up for a cup of coffee to pay $5 for a cup of coffee. And they proved everybody wrong. Like everybody lines up for that coffee. And so, yeah, like, well, everybody except you, Rusty.
Yeah, I don't touch the stuff. It's like, part of it is that coffee just totally tears my stomach up. It gives me heartburn so bad that I can't.
And actually, it contributes to heartburn for me too. I've kind of cut back a bit. I still have it occasionally, but I drink more tea lately.
Yeah, tea doesn't bother me.
Part of that is I'm getting old too. Like I'm just getting old, you know.
Well, back in my day when I was a younger guy, that stuff didn't bother me.
I could eat sandwiches at Coffee Beans.
Yeah. Now it just bothers me all the time.
Oh, look at this. Speaking of 3D printing.
Something just come out?
It didn't just come out. I just had it sitting over there.
Oh, that looks awful familiar.
It should. Can you blow up the screen? It'll probably be easier to see. Because it is pretty detailed. See it now?
Yeah, a second here.
Let's see if I can.
There we go.
Look at that. Let me see if I can. There you go. You recognize that?
Right in front of your chest, so you're out of the light. There you go. Because it looks like a walker.
That's right. It's the top of a Sentinel.
Yeah.
I'm printing this for. I'm going to have this as like a walker for a game of Xenos Rampant.
Okay.
I just decided to just print a Sentinel off, and it's got gun. You know, I've got.
Which guns are you putting on it?
Well, I just decided to go with. I think this is autocannon, like an autocannon. See if I can show you here. It's got the little drum there.
Yeah.
And then also, that's actually the thigh, not a gun. The other one for the guns. Oh, it's this missile launcher. It's actually pretty easy. It's just like a little squatty missile launcher. It's got like the holes, and it's like a turret, it's just like a canister missile launcher. So it's hard to see the detail in the light right here, but that's all that is. So, but pretty cool print though. Like I don't know how easily you can see the detail really, but that's probably even worse when I shut that bright light off. But it's actually pretty nice, the detail.
Yeah, Garrett, he printed off a bunch of Sentinels, similar design.
Now you can really see the bug eyes. You can zoom out now.
Zoom in? Yeah, okay, I can zoom in more.
So rusty.
He printed off a Chimera off his Mars. So it was one piece.
Yep.
I thought that was pretty cool. He pulled it off the plate, and then they started printing the walker the miniature that we put together.
Mm-hmm.
I'll probably, if we get together on Sunday, you'll probably hand it over to me so I can look at it.
Nice. That's awesome.
So.
I showed you that I got one of these like vortex mixers for paint, didn't I? Or I told you about it?
Oh, the paint mixer?
Yeah.
It's a little shaker?
Yeah. You just press it on the top and it's supposed to spin the paint on the inside.
Yeah.
I'm just using one of those. That was the sound for this GW paint.
Yep, that'd be 2 regiments. That's a lot of mix. Oh, off to the club. strip club.
Who are you talking about?
Oh, Matt, he's off to the club.
Oh,
It's
okay.
Friday night. Everybody, it's Friday night. World War II naval. Look up a guy on Wargaming 3D by the name of Gurix Miniatures. All right. Always nice to. Yeah. The first thing I noticed was the Bug Eyes. Captain Bug Eye or Captain Walleye. Yep. Wally Walleye. Playing broadsides, Empires of Steel, World War One. Okay. Those guys make nice guard STLs. Yeah, it's like he showed me all kinds of SC files that he had for 40K for the guard. Yeah, caffeine, I stay away from that stuff. If I had a little bit of caffeine, I can eat a piece of chocolate and get wound up. How flexible is the antenna on that thing?
Flexible. I don't want to test it too much, but oh, well, look. Oh, hang on.
Oh, it's got some flex to it.
Yeah. Not bad.
Gator done. All that matters. Yeah, the nice thing about World War One and Two warships is that there's details, but they kind of made it nice that all the ships are almost identical. You don't have a lot of details you have to worry about painting. Yeah, it's probably one of the reasons why I was so big into dystopian wars. They had the ground combat version of it, but I didn't like play that much because I'd rather play the warships.
Mm-hmm. But now you're primarily, well, I guess I know you're playing the fantasy now, and you're playing like you always play BattleTech, and you're playing. But World War II is a big one for you right now, right? Even for like the bolt action and stuff.
Yeah.
Like that, like as far as your focus right now.
Well, my focus right now is actually thinking if I get back to it, it'd be the Civil War, American Civil War, but
Oh, okay.
I don't have anything that's World War II anymore that isn't painted. Well, I can't say that. I have a 15 mil Soviet Army that I need to put together and paint. And I have a 28 mil British paratroopers for bolt action that I have to put together.
Nice. The British paratroopers are always a fun thing, or paratroopers in general.
Yeah. Well, the whole
Cool.
concept was Operation Market Garden.
Mm-hmm.
That was a project I wanted to do. Heck, I've had the Army for about 10 years, I think.
And so, who were the miniatures by?
They're Warlord.
Okay.
Actual bolt action British. You remember when I painted those American troops? I guess it's been about 5 years ago.
Yeah, I think so.
For bolt action. I've had them. I got them all at the same time. So it was one of those deals where I wanted to do an Operation Market Garden and wanted to eventually pick up some Germans also, but I've never done that yet. And then Dan, he has a bunch of Germans, so it's like, okay. One of the reasons why I haven't picked up any Germans is he has those if I ever wanted to play. Mel
Right.
has some Germans. Not a lot. Because most he had Germans and I had the Russians from Easy 8.
Easy 8 miniatures?
Easy 8 Enterprise, yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I think I've seen those. They were really nice.
Yeah,
They're kind of like old school looking, right? Like kind of.
yeah.
Isn't that right? I'm going to look those up. I thought I kind of became. I just want to make sure those are the ones I was thinking of.
Mel and I used to play with the guys that owned the company.
Oh. Oh, when you actually type in Easy 8 World War II, your YouTube channel comes up.
Yeah.
In Google. I thought I'd seen those.
One of the few people that actually painted things.
There's a painted tank on Etsy of a Sherman tank.
Yeah, it's an Easy 8 Sherman, probably.
Oh, yeah, that's what that is. Yeah, no, that's not the miniature company. That's just an Easy 8 Sherman.
Yeah, you got.
I like the look of them. Yeah, they're good.
Easy 8 Enterprise. There's a company down that used to still sell them, but they said they were taking a break during COVID, and I don't know if they came back.
See, Mel mentioned something about their van burning down with all their stuff in it, and I'm wondering, is that insider information?
That's an interesting story. They were coming to, we were down at Kansas, down at Fort Riley or Leavenworth, Fort Leavenworth, and there was a convention there, and we were going to meet them there, and they were on their way with all their stuff because they were going to do demonstrations also, and their van or their trailer that they were towing with all of their goods, all the product that they were going to sell at the convention, caught fire and it all burned up.
Oh my gosh.
It was kind of the thing that all the time and effort they had in product went up in flames.
Wow.
So I think that's what put a nail in their coffin of them actually keeping marketable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Battle Space. We're Battletech. I used to have that. I don't know why. I ended up selling it off because I couldn't get anybody that wanted to play it. Looking forward to some naval this year, at least 3 types of naval history. Yeah, it's like back in the 80s, a friend of mine used to play, we played Harpoon, which was the modern naval systems. And we played it in the local gym where we'd play on the basketball court. So you had your ships and everything were playing there. Just like you'd have the entire engagements going out there and everything would be laid out. And it's like, oh, launching missiles here, lock on a target. And you're just like, you just see the missiles, Harpoon missiles or their shipwrecks go flying back and forth everywhere. And you're trying to shoot them down. A lot of fun.
I've heard of that game. There's also a video game based on it too, right? Afterwards.
Yeah, there was a video game and used to be a computer game called Harpoon. You could play the same game.
That's what I meant. Like there's I thought it was based on like a tabletop game originally, but then it became a video game too, series or something.
Yeah. Use my 15 mil World War II for sci-fi militia. Yeah, it kind of hurts when you have, thousands of dollars of printed material just turned into fireplace kindling type thing. They were saying that when the vehicle was burning, they had the pewter miniatures and everything were melted, getting so hot they would lead or pewter was melting out the back, just dripping.
We have got the Nurgling in the house. I don't know that if he's made it onto a show because I know the time difference yet. But Happy New Year's! Thanks for stopping in.
Well, welcome to the show. One of these times we're going to have to find it if you can get onto the show with us. Get with the time difference.
Absolutely.
It can be done with
serious dedication.
Yeah. Well,
Dwayne does
Dwayne
it,
has showed that you can do it.
Yeah. But it does require some. He'll admit that he's able to for whatever reason. He said, I don't know.
I think Dwayne has changed jobs, so he's now working more days instead of nights.
Okay.
Before he was working night shift, so it wasn't a big deal for him.
Right.
Yeah, that's a big problem was the connection. I proved that it's possible with when we first started the show that bad connections can still work with the show. It's just that most of the time it looks like I'm doing it from Mars.
Yeah, exactly. Coming in from a distant planetary body.
Hello, can you hear me in there? Yeah, that's why we got the better internet now, just because of this show. Which I'd like having the extra connection because then I can upload instead of uploading a 20-minute video doesn't take 3 hours upload. Now it takes 5 minutes or less.
Yeah,
that's nice.
Like he says, he's still on copper wire, so that means that the wall probably gets hot as you're as you're starting to stream.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time focusing now with all this alcohol in me. But I did get 2 miniatures done.
Yeah, I got my bases. I just got a base coat and a highlight on there, which is, and then I had touched up the wings a bit on them. I don't know if I showed these last week on the show, but oh, there you go.
The little Atlas got his glowy eyes. Oh.
I've got this I could show Nurgling. I'm sure you've seen this before. I got 3 of them all lined up. One of them I had an arm that I had the ability because I had a healthy hand with axe, but I also had a broken one. So I ended up giving him a morning star to make him look a little bit different. It's cool. But
he's the cook.
Old school.
He would be the cook because he's got the tenderizer.
Yeah, I got a unit of 3 from my Beastmen. My 3 Dragon Ogres are all the classic ones from my 6th edition games.
Yeah. So it's like where we're sitting at now. It's like we can plan ahead. It's like, well, right now we're looking at 2 weeks from now. I have to do the math here. Because in February, I am going to Ohio. Let me see here. 2 weeks from now is the 25th. Oh, 26th. So you'll be on the 26th, right? Second.
2 weeks from now, yeah. So you're going to be around, or are you going?
I'll be around. February? I'll be around the February one when it be my turn, which would be the 9th. That's the day I'm taking off for Ohio.
Okay. Well, we'll plan around it. No worries.
Yeah. So we could probably just have to push.
Like we could probably do it from the hotel when you're driving that night or something. Just kidding.
Okay.
Hey, everybody. No, we can plan around it. And so we'll do it either before or after when you get back, whatever. That works.
Yeah. I got to go to a wedding, so I got to take my suit and everything and be Mr. Spiffy.
I'm never somebody that usually cares about like my birthday when it comes to like working and things like that, or like, sell it, like making something big out of it. But I had to schedule some medical appointments, and I work pretty much business banker's hours. And so I ended up just taking my birthday off. And so it's right around that time. And I'm turning 52, so it's kind of a big day. And so, in that way, so I'm kind of going to take, and so it'll be that week too. So we could just not do that week, the show.
Which week?
The week of the 9th that you're talking about in February.
Okay. So you're going to be turning the big 5-0, huh?
Yeah.
You're going to be the Hawaii 5-0.
Yeah, it's a big time. Although, I don't know. I'm one of those people that thinks about things enough already that I don't think I'll feel any different. I won't feel any older.
Well, I'll tell you, I didn't notice much difference between 48 and 52. It was when I hit about 55. That's when I started noticing things started changing a bit.
You know what? I don't notice much except when I speak to people that are 20.
Hey,
So
Grandpa.
when I hire people that are 20, part of my job is hiring. And so when I hire, and I meet people and I work with people in their 20s, it makes me feel like I'm 50 now. If I don't actually have them in my sight, I feel young.
Yeah, I know.
If that makes sense. I feel young. Like I don't feel old. But the moment
It's up
I
here.
talk to anybody.
Yeah. It's like up in the brain housing group, he's like, I am still 20.
Yeah. But if you actually mention something from the 80s, like to them, that was like your parents talking to you about like the 50s or whatever,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
or like my parents like talking to me about the 50s, or something like that. Like now, I feel really old when I like people don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Even from the 90s, people don't know what I'm talking about. And that makes me feel old because the 90s was actually like after my time. That was like when I was like in college, and it was not during my like youth, like,
Yeah.
And so I was already disconnecting in the 90s from pop culture and things. And so to a certain degree. And so for me, yeah, it's really funny. I speak to people today and I feel ancient. And I am, its reality is that's when, like you are, when people that are technically adults, but they're young, have no clue at all of things that you're talking about. And like, they're looking at you like you have three heads, that something's changed. The world has moved on without you.
For someone like me who was watching the first moon landings, it's like,
Yeah. And I'm not like, I don't expect these people to know this. Like, I'm not insulting them. Like I wouldn't have known who somebody was from the late 40s, some pop artist, like when I was growing up. Like if somebody started talking to me about that, I would have no idea what they're talking about. Right. Yeah. It's just that I'm that person now that's actually quoting something from the 40s. It's just that in a different place and time, like, and so, yeah, it's just funny. Waxing philosophical. What am I doing here, Rusty?
Waxing lyrical. Yeah, you think about things as let's go back 60 years. 60 years ago would have been 1962.
Right.
60 years before that was 1902.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
And it's like I'm talking to my I remember talking to my grandparents who were born around that time frame, who were talking to their grandparents who were born 60 years before that or something,
Yeah.
And there's like, oh, they were born in the 1840s, and it's like the connection is still there.
And that's pretty drastic. Like when you talk about it that way, you can even half that. Like, because really, when you look at people's like attention spans and like with what's going on, like if you have that, I like to think about it that when in the early 80s, when I was watching Leave It to Beaver, like on television, the reruns in black and white, the 1950s, to me, I was looking at ancient history. Like, when I was a little kid watching black and white shows, not because color wasn't available, but just because they were reruns. And you're like, oh, look, it's black and white. And it's like, look at the way they're dressed and the way like the parents and the kids are talking to each other. Like, this is old stuff, And to me, there was a huge difference. But then 30 years later, even in the 2010s, now the 80s is technically the same length of time.
Yeah.
From that. And now it's 40 because we're in the 2020s, and so it's even further, like it's 40 years back. And so you don't even have to go 60 years. It already, like, that generational change is already happening, even in half that, in my opinion. But what you're talking about is drastic. I mean, like, yeah.
You think about the music we listen to. My favorite music is the 80s and some of the 70s.
Yeah.
And that's 40, 50 years ago.
That's right. It's, and to me, my favorite is the 70s, as you know, like I love 70s music. And yeah, it's like old now, like really old. People, when I live in a world where I listen to 70s music every day. So if I'm talking about like Firefall or like just some group like that, like people have no idea. Most people like, that are not of a certain generation that wouldn't have heard and recognized on the radio. They have no idea. Like it's completely. And so looks like Dan is in the house. Hey, Dan, looks like he said he got sidetracked and is just getting sat down. Yeah, we had a little nice painting session, talking a lot about 3D printing tonight. Rusty's got a bit of the bug for it in the way you did on the last show.
Yeah, it's getting the force is getting strong with that one.
We've got some comments. We should go back so we don't miss any of them. I know.
Chris is 52 this year. Yeah. So accurate about talking about how things have changed. Is you feeling old?
Yeah.
I was talking to a workmate about miniatures, and I mentioned Oldhammer to him, and he looked at me blankly. And it's like, what? Oldhammer, yeah, and that was like 2015, right? Before Oldhammer's when they went the stuff that was before Age of Sigmar. That's Oldhammer, right?
You're kidding me. I know you're kidding me.
But some of them, no, that's Oldhammer.
Sometimes that you almost fooled me there, Rusty. I thought you were serious for a second.
No, I was serious. What do you mean? I was talking to a workmate about miniatures the other day and mentioned it. Like, what are you talking about? Oh, Brad's turning 50 this year. So we got a whole bunch of us that are in the same boat.
In the same generation.
Well, then we got Grandpa Dan in here. Now, I'm older than anybody in this room, and it's like, my kids are not even married. Oh. Come to the dark side. Need to watch the show tomorrow night from the beginning. Yeah, it's like you've been mentioned a few times.
Yes. Dan. Yep. Talking about games and Rusty games he wants to play and keep playing and stuff.
Yeah, it's like we were just talking about my. Part of it was that I was discussing. Need to get together with you. Is that was it February 9th through the 12th? I got to go to Ohio for a wedding. It was like last night, which is kind of funny. We were I was at church with my men's group, and one of the guys, he says, "Yeah, I just got engaged," and he's like, I popped the question to my girlfriend. I was like, when am I getting married? And I was like, oh, you got my condolences, man. He's like, what? It's like, what do you mean? I was like, I've been married 34 years. It's like, boy, you got a long road ahead of you. Yeah, Dan is 53 and he's already a grandpa. Yikes. Well, that's not as bad. I had classmates in high school that were 18, 19 years old, and they're already parents. So they're already grandparents. They have, I got one classmate, I think is already a great grandparent already. So like, wow. But that's pretty easy to do. It's like it's going to be 40 years ago I graduated from high school this year.
If you set your mind to it.
Well, if you're 18, have kids.
I don't even know what that means, but it just sounded like the right thing to say.
If you're highly motivated, yes, you can become a parent.
If you set your mind to it, you can get that done.
Yeah. I'm in no rush. So what's everybody, it's like, what kind of projects you've been working on, Dan? I'm just curious. You still working on your not flame war, but bolt action stuff? I think the last time you were talking about, you were working on some Russians. Well, I made a small dent in my project tonight. Oh, I didn't show this one. This is the other guy. No, spectacular looking, but got an Archer.
Nice. I always like that model. I think I like how they have the torpedo bays or the long distance missiles.
Yeah, the LRM opened up. Ready.
Yeah.
The silos are open. Ready to launch. Dan says, still making great progress on my Soviet bolt action army. And I need to sit down and get, as soon as I finish these American Civil War miniatures at 15s that both Dan and I have. So that's probably going to be something we're looking at next year for playing a game of that for Dan and I. Because it's going to be about that long before he gets around to them. But I'll probably have my stuff painted up by then. Mel has a whole bunch of Civil War stuff. His is mostly Alliance miniatures. I used to have a whole bunch of Alliance miniature stuff from back in the day, but I ended up selling it all off. Now I'm picking it back up again. But my goal is eventually I got a whole tub. It's nothing full of bolt action miniatures for my what do you call it? British Airborne. There's one thing I need to pick up a few of is like get a couple carriers, maybe a few tanks for British and stuff like that.
Looks like Nurgling has to head into work. Thanks for stopping by. We're heading. I think we're not here that much longer anyway.
Yeah.
Typically.
Yeah, we got a couple more minutes and we're done.
Yeah.
I can only use my AC. Yeah, it's like you have. We both, Mel and I have the Johnny Reb rules, and I got some other Civil War rule sets too that could be easily used. But there's always plenty of options when it comes to playing those. And Brad has been talking about getting into Napoleonics again. That's a rabbit hole you can really sink into and disappear.
Yeah, there's a lot of miniatures for that.
Yeah. Unlike the American Civil War, if you got line infantry, about the only difference is if you start throwing in like Zouaves. Yeah, that's about the only thing different from, because you could have your Rebs, then you got your Union troops. They wore the same, basically kind of the same uniform, so you can adapt either way. But when you're looking at Napoleonics, the French are kind of streamlined. Austrians have about twice as many different kind of uniforms as the French. But then you get into like the Germanic states, the German states. Oh man, it's like each one of them has a different uniform. So
yeah,
you get in some of those battles, it's like it looks like somebody just threw paint all over the table. There's so many different colors. It's beautiful, but a lot of work if you want to try to make like say a division. It's like, oh, you got to make this division, but that's the only one you're going to have. There's no the only time they can be used is for that battle. So that's one of the problems with the Napoleonics. Oh, Fire and Fury. That's I got Johnny Reb, Fire and Fury, and a couple others, Civil War ones. Yeah, the thing about Napoleonics, American War of Independence, though Peter and I have talked about American Civil War. I've gone away. Well, last night I dug out and I found that I still have a small amount of American War of Independence in 15 mil. So it's like, oh yeah, I still got these things. I forgot. Because after I sold off all my armies, 15 mil, America was like, Then I got some more. I was like, oh yeah, I got boxes of them. So eventually I'll have to either unload them or paint them and then unload them. But since some individual named Dan got me into 28 American War of Independence, I'm not doing 15s.
Yeah, it's hard once you have taken the plunge in one spot to just continually do it in another. Or I can't imagine doing French Indian War on any other scale now that I've started 28. But
yeah, it was like once you started it and you kept it, that's one thing. It's like if I still had my 15 mil American War of Independence and Napoleonics, I would stay there.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, Napoleonics, best way to, because they're huge battles. You're talking 25, 50,000, 100,000 men fighting it out on a battlefield. You need a small scale to do that. So, but American War of Independence, 2,000, 3,000 guys on a battlefield was a large battle.
Yeah.
So playing at 28 is fine. Let's see. Dan, when are you getting a 3D printer? Well, if it was still at $329 for a printer, I'd probably have one showing up today or tomorrow. But
you missed it.
I missed it. On Monday morning, it was $329 for a Elegoo Saturn. I think it was S. It was at $329, and then
was that from the New Year's sale?
Might have been. And then I went over to my friend's house and looked at his. He's got a Mars 2 printer, like yours,
right?
And then when I got home that night and looked online on Amazon, it was $389. I was like, and it felt like spending $60 more for it.
Yeah. Oh, well, it'll come back.
Yep, I just got to keep an eye on it. And occasionally, I noticed last fall, summer and fall, they would put a coupon for $100 off.
That's pretty good.
So if they did that, they raise the price and give you a coupon. So
yeah. Oh, well, it balances out.
Yeah. The S is good. I have one. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It was about the right size.
And the Saturn. He's got the Saturn too.
Yeah. Because now they got the Saturn 2, which has got almost a 10-inch plate on it, which is, and it's 8K.
Well, gentlemen, I think it's time for me to pull the plug.
Alrighty.
Thank you, everybody, for coming out. It's great to chit-chat, as usual.
Yeah, we'll see you 2 weeks on your channel. Say today is the 5th, so add 14 to it.
19th, I think so.
Yeah.
All right.
That's right, man.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for coming out.
See you all in the next one. Thanks, Mel. We'll see you maybe Sunday. Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Brad. Thanks, Chris. Anybody else saying good night?
John Boy.
Well, that's 5, right? That's everybody. All right, so we'll all see you in 2 weeks over in Palmer's channel, and you guys all have a good night, and thanks for stopping in and chatting with us. Enjoy the show.